Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to my very first broadcast of She Emerged, the manifestation of me. I will be your host, Shalimar Ramey, and we are just going to have a conversation today. Hope you're ready. So, let's just get right into this thing. I made an announcement for those of you that saw the announcement that my book, She Emerged, the Manifestation of Me, will be out June 2021 prayerfully, if it's God's will. Shout out to Back to Eden Publishers. Amazing lady. She is just amazing. She's been very helpful on my journey with this book so far, very accommodating and extremely helpful. So shout out to them for just being gracious and understanding. So this episode I'll be talking about making myself the priority. And when you make you a priority, it changes the dynamic of so many things. So it's important for us to put ourselves first. And I just want to just touch on that a little bit with you today. A lot of times, especially we as women, we prioritize everything but us. We sometimes have families, we have careers, we have different areas of our lives that are just pulling us in so many different directions. For me, I have a servant's heart. So I find myself often being pulled in many different directions because I have made myself so available over the years to so many people that they have become comfortable in me just always being a help and being available. Big mistake. And the mistake is not in having a servant's heart and wanting to help people and that being your passion. That is fine. It is great to help people. We should do all things in love. And sometimes the help is needed. And if there's a need and you can meet it, then by all means, meet it, but not at the expense of yourself. When you make yourself overly, or for what I found is because I made myself so overly available to people, they got so comfortable in it that they come to expect a certain level of dedication from me. And what I found in recent years is I'm not always able, as I've gotten older, because I'm not the spring chicken anymore, that I'm not always able to accommodate them. But because in previous years, I was able to just do it and get it all done. When I found myself unable and limited, in some respect, or just being human and getting overwhelmed, people weren't really accepting of that. And they became upset with me. It just became an issue between me and them. And for me, I became frustrated and resentful because I'm like, y'all know I'm human. Like, why can't you I'm human. Cut me some slack here. Things happen. I get overwhelmed. Sometimes I don't always budget my time properly. Things happen. So I'm just not able to get to you in this moment, but I've done everything that I could for you within, reason, within my own healthy boundaries. How dare you be upset with me? Because in this moment, I need a little bit of grace because I'm a person and some things went wrong and I just was not able to accommodate you. But God corrected that. It was my own fault. So before I go any further, let me just say this. 2020 allowed me to see me, to really sit with me with no distractions or minimal distractions other than my family. And I had to reevaluate a lot of things. And I had to reevaluate my availability and the way I made myself available to people. and it was kind of unrealistic. Um, I just made myself the footstool to a lot of people, because of my, childhood. There were some unhealthy behaviors and traits that I carried along, with me into my adult life as a result of certain childhood traumas. Okay. So when I sat in 2020 and I looked at these things, because God forced me to, of course, look at myself, because He took everything off the table that was keeping me busy, I realized that A, it wasn't a good thing. And I didn't like it. But I was always so busy in it that I didn't really pay attention to the fact that I didn't like it. Um, and so I found myself in these situations where people were really upset with me because I wasn't able to meet the standard, um, that I thought they had set in their mind to me. But the truth of the matter is, I had set that standard because my ministry of no is real weak. My no game is real weak. I have a problem saying no, um, because I am such a bleeding heart. And I was under the misconception, or operating under the misconception, that I needed to be everything for everybody in order to be, feel fulfilled and feel satisfied and accomplished within myself. Well, if I could just do everything I want to be everybody's hero. No, because when I was not able to be the hero, or when I was not able, to fulfill everything that they had required or, asked of me, and not purposely, just because things happen. Um, I found myself on the receiving end of the backlash of not being able to measure up with the standard that I set. So it was my fault, for not, um, recognizing that I am human, and not making myself the priority, not prioritizing my time, my energy, not being realistic about my limitations. Sometimes we get in that superhero mode as mothers and women and wives, and we just want to be a superhero, but I'm not. I'm realizing that I'm human, and I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm just not going to be able. Period. Like, there are going to be times when I'm just not going to be able to do it, and I had to learn to be okay with that. I had to learn to say no, and no is not always a negative thing. It could just be a maybe not right now, or, just no, no, because it's not something that I'm just capable of giving you right now, because it may cost me something. And I had to learn that if I don't do that, I set unrealistic expectations in people's minds about what I can give them. And I can't hold them accountable for them being upset when I can't deliver, because I did that. So I have to be more honest about my limitations. Um, I have to be more organized, in my thoughts, in my activities, and definitely work on time management. I'm so bad at that. I'm like the last minute, always late to the party type of person. I'm sorry, I'm going to be late to my own funeral. Yeah, for real. So I'm learning that I have to be more realistic, in those areas. And that is just okay. That comes with seeing yourself. So, in order to make yourself a priority, you have to see yourself and be honest with you about who you are. And part of that journey for me was I wrote a lot of things down. I journal. I've been journaling since I was a kid. And so I wrote some things down, and I wrote, how certain events and things made me feel. And then I took a real honest, hard look at how I ended up in those situations, and why those things made me feel the way that they felt. And I had to deal with those feelings. Um, well, I did this because I consider this person a friend. I love them, and my love language is service. And so, that's what I know. So I need for this person to know that I love them and they're my friend. And so I'm just going to walk on water, um, because I want them to be happy, because their happiness is important to me. And that was nuts. Just absolutely wrong. If you have to walk on water to gain the love and adoration of someone, you don't need it. It shouldn't take all that. And it doesn't take all that. But those are unrealistic expectations that I placed on myself. Unrealistic ideals that I created within myself, that stemmed from my childhood and childhood trauma, and that innate desire to belong, and be accepted and be a part of. And because I never properly dealt with those things prior to becoming an adult, I carried those traits into my adulthood. And now here I am. I found myself in a lot of these situations. I mean, I had somebody just hard down curse me out because I just wasn't able to accommodate them in a certain way. And it can be anything. It doesn't have to just be doing favors or activities. It could be support, emotional and otherwise. Sometimes you just are not available to be the sounding board because maybe you're going through your own things, and you have to be honest and realistic in that and say, I just cannot do it today. Because if you are in a bad place and you're bleeding, you definitely don't want to bleed on somebody else. So you want to be honest and forthcoming and say, listen, I love you, but I just not today. How about we try this conversation tomorrow, because I'm in the middle of something. I hope that you're okay. I just want to make sure that you're okay. But we can't have this conversation right now because I'm not ready. Because what will happen is you'll either say something highly inappropriate. You'll react to something in an overly emotional way. Or you'll end up dumping what's going on inside of you off on them and making their situation worse. So you have to be mindful of you at all times when you're interacting with others. That is making you a priority. Also, part of making you a priority is self-care, things that you need for you. So in this season, I made myself a promise that I would be more invested in me. And part of making me a priority is making my self-care a priority, doing the things that I have always put on the back burner because I either needed to tend to my children, tend to my husband, maintain the household, do my part. I'm a nurse, so I work, overnight. And so I made a lot of sacrifices to make sure that everybody around me was okay. And I ended up sacrificing myself. And so I got so accustomed to it, I didn't even realize that there were things that I really wanted to do to make me happy that they got lost down on the inside. And I needed to get that back. And 2020 opened the door for me to be able to do that. It put me in a position to really have to reevaluate some things and grow to learn and understand that I am important. And in order for me to function highly for the people that I love and the people that I serve, I need to be cared for. Like, I need to make sure that I'm okay, or I will be totally ineffective for these people that I love. And so self-care is now at the top of my list. Getting my nails done, keeping up with my hair, little things that I neglected for me because I was always pouring out and giving to others. And it just kind of left me out of my own life, so to speak. Like, I was left out of my own life. I was busy building up everybody around me and not building up myself. And that is a hard realization to come to. It is hard and it is hurtful. When you finally do sit back and take a look at all the things that you have willingly sacrificed, you can't be angry at anyone but yourself. That doesn't mean change your heart. I'm never going to change me in that manner. I'm okay. I just have to learn how to be more effective in being a servant. You can serve people, you can give, but just make sure you give a little bit to yourself. There are a lot of things that we find unattainable because we're constantly pouring out to other people. No, they're attainable. They're attainable because I'm going to make me the priority. I'm going to put me first. I'm worthy. I'm good enough. I matter, um, and that's that. There's no like it's there's no way around that. I have to matter in order for everything that else that matters to me to function. So I have to be more mindful of that in this season. And I urge you to do the same. Be more mindful of the things that make you happy. Be more mindful of the things that serve you and put those things first before you run out and serve everybody else. Because again, if you can't keep you balanced, then your service is going to be imbalanced. And you're not going to be very effective after a while because you'll burn out and you'll end up resentful and angry and frustrated, and you'll be looking at everybody else as if they did something wrong. But the truth of the matter is, it was you. It was you not prioritizing you. So you have to make yourself the priority. Now, the other side of making yourself the priority is being okay with judgment. Because sometimes the judgment of others will push you into a place where you feel like, I have to be this in order to be accepted. I have to fit this mold in order for people to acknowledge the greatness that's in me, or in order for me to be great. I have to bend myself and shape myself and walk other than what really lives down on the inside, because maybe they won't accept the real me. Maybe I'm not good enough, or I don't operate the way that they operate. So I may not be what this situation looks like. And that was also something very personal to me. My ministry took years for me to even put my best foot forward in it. But it was because I was also operating in a fear that if I prioritize myself, will people still want to be my friend? Will people still want to be around me? Will people still love me? Is that selfish? I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be arrogant. I want to be humble, because that's who I am. Do I really have to change? How much of me do I have to change to get people to see me? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But again, that was something that I had to adjust myself to and deal with head on, and come to the realization that, yes, I may not be for everybody. And no, I don't care. Because as long as I know that God has given me this vision, and it's something that He has designed and required me to do, as long as He is pleased and He gets the glory, then that is how I'm going to move forward. And also, as long as I'm pleased with me, judgment will come. People will judge you if you're doing good. Unfortunately, people will judge you harshly if you're doing bad. That is the nature of being a human. We do it. I've walked down the street and seen somebody in her shoes just wasn't right, and mm-hmm. Side eye. That's judgment. So we all do it. So we can't expect for others not to. And what was scary for me was, okay, if I step out of this box and I stop just being the doormat and I bring myself to the forefront, and can I still serve and still operate, like this? And am I ready? Am I ready for the scrutiny that comes with changing? Because when people are used to you being a certain way, are they going to be accepting of the change and your evolution? And that's just something you have to be okay with. You have to be okay with some people just not understanding, some people not being accepting, some people not supporting, because it will happen. Um, and just, you have to affirm yourself daily. You have to affirm yourself daily that you are worthy, you are capable, and if God brought you to it, he sure will bring you through it. Um, you have to get away from people pleasing. I'm guilty of that. Again, something else I'm working through in this season. We'll have some real good conversations about that. And be okay with pleasing you and pleasing God first and foremost. Make him the priority in all things, and everything else will fall into place. Um, you can't base your life on how others are going to feel about you. If you do, you'll lose you. Um, and it's a long road back to you once you get that way. So just be comfortable in you. And as long as you're comfortable in you and comfortable in what you were called to do, everything else will fall into place. I promise. And you'll feel better. It's like a weight lifted because you're no longer having to juggle everybody's emotions and figure out how you can be everything for everybody. Because you know what? Right now I'm being everything I need to be for me. And if you can't accept and understand that, then I love you with the love of Christ, and we'll just, move forward. And if they're meant to be in your life, then, they're meant to be in your life. And you have to just love you more. Love you more. The more you learn to love you, flaws and all, you will become more confident, and things will be easier for you to walk in. I'm definitely flawed, but I'm favored. I'm definitely broken a little bit, but I'm beautifully broken. And God will use anybody. He will use the least of you. He knows. So if he is okay with where I am right now, then I'm okay with that. And the only promise I have to make is that I will continuously evolve, and I will not get stuck in a place. Now, evolution is inevitable. You're going to have to do it. But it's how you evolve that's going to matter. And how you prioritize yourself will definitely impact your evolution. And it doesn't happen overnight. So don't expect to just wake up tomorrow and be like, I'm good. You're not. It's a process and something you have to commit yourself to and be committed. And that commitment is ultimately to you. So as long as you are committed to you and committed to making you a priority, you are well on your way to being the best version of yourself that you can be in this season, because every season will come with a new level of evolution. Be mindful that with new levels come new devils. So as you evolve, there'll be some new trials and some new tribulations. The enemy is always busy. The last thing he wants is for us to be successful in the kingdom and in ourselves. His job, his goal is to keep us stagnant. But you don't have to stay that way. There is help, prayer, pray. And prayer is simply having a conversation with God. Just talk to him. I do. I'm sure sometimes he's a little tired of my banter, but he loves me anyway. And sometimes prayer can get real ugly. Sometimes it can be real cute and neat. Most times for me, it's not. There's sometimes I just have to cry out and roll around on the floor and lose my wig, eyelashes hanging off, and that just means that was a real good purge. But that's okay. Just learn to be okay with you and the things that work for you. I went through a period where I felt like I was not what ministry looked like. I'm like, God, I don't know what you're doing in this season, but I am not what ministry looks like. I don't know what you're thinking, sir. I am like so far away from that image. And he corrected me. He was like, you are exactly what ministry should look like. And again, your ministry may not fit everybody else or everybody, but it will fit somebody. I chose you for a reason. And so be okay with you. And I think in once I came to the realization that that calling just wasn't going anywhere, um, I had to go through the process of making me a priority so that I would be comfortable and confident enough to move forward in my ministry and not be so caught up in what I could and could not do for everyone else. How it was going to impact, you know, my time and what I had to give everybody else. So in this season, I'm prioritizing me and God and what He's called me to do. And I'm going to push forward the best way I know how. And those who are for me will be right there. And those who don't understand, God will eventually make it plain to them. And I pray that He really deals with their heart. But be okay with being human. Um, be okay with flaws, with your flaws. Understand that even in that, yes, you are still favored. I heard this saying on Facebook. I seen it on a post one day, and the lady put up, and she was like, "Broken crayons still color." They do. So even though I'm not perfect, even though I'm flawed, I have a quirky personality, got a little bit of petty. It's fun petty though. Like, it's not mean, I promise. I just, it's funny. I still got that in me. That does not mean that I'm not worthy of my call. It doesn't mean that I can't operate in my ministry and help somebody. But ministry starts at home and it lives in me. And I have to start with me first and make me the priority. So I hope you got something from today's conversation. This is just the first of Prayerfully Many. I hope and pray that you have a wonderful day. Be on the lookout for some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful programs that we have coming up soon. Um, you know, we the ladies that I sit with in M7, my ministry sisters, have some great programs coming up soon. February 27th, 4:30 p.m. We will be having our Zoom. Unfortunately, this year, S.H.E 2021 will be virtual. But fortunately, God is still going to show up and do what God does. So I look forward to seeing you all on February 27th at 4:30 for S.H.E 2021. Launch the vision, sis. I'm not telling you anything that I am not actively walking in. S.H.E emerged, the manifestation of me is the vision. Part of the vision that God gave me, and I am launching the vision in this season, and I am capable, and so are you. Check out my sister Tamita in Brockington. Tamita Brockington's book, Marriage is Not a Fairy Tale. It is on sale now at tamitabrockington.wixsite.com. It is an awesome read. Pick that up. And then mark your calendars for March the 13th at 5 p.m. with Pastor Ebony Baker Rivera, her story. In honor of Women's History Month. Her story is an annual thing, and it will also be virtual. You don't want to miss out on that. That is an awesomely great time. Check out my other sister, Reverend Farrah Major, every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for Uncatty Conversations. She has some awesome guests and great conversations that will help you move forward in being whole and through your healing journey as well. And last but certainly not least, my first written work, S.H.E Emerged, the manifestation of me, will be coming out June 2021. Prayerfully, if it's God's will, be on the lookout for that. It touches it's the highlight reel of my life. I just pulled out some very poignant traumatic experiences, and I walk you through the process of how they shaped me from childhood to adulthood, and how I healed from them, and where I am today in this moment. And I do let you know that there is still more to come, because this story is still being written. God is definitely not through with me yet. So I thank you for listening. And I will see you next time. I hope you enjoy. Please be patient with me as I learn to master all this technical stuff, because this is a lot. But I'm going to do the best that I can to give you the best programming I can. And I pray you receive it as it's supposed to be received. All right. You guys have a blessed day. Love you. Bye.